There are many different ways that we've used person-centered approaches within the schools that I oversee. So it ranges from, if it's a phase transfer, so speaking to the young adult first and finding out what they want to do with their lives. And if needed be, we had one case where we invited the university that he wanted to attend. So that's one way. So then we based it around his career aspirations and what he wanted to do. When we look lower down and at younger children, is ensuring that their voices are really well heard. And even if they're not able to verbalize that, bringing examples of their artwork or bringing video recordings of what they've done in the past, or sharing photos of them, or the floor book. So in everything we do, we really try to capture what is the most important thing. And in every case, it's the child and the child's aspirations and the child's wants and needs. So it's looking at individual children and then kind of taking their lead from it.
Previously, when I was a SENCO, we tailored it to the needs of the individual child. So we very much took it on, we led it by them. So if they might be feeling a bit nervous, they knew what to expect in the meeting. Again, they chose what they'd like to have in the meeting. It might be music playing, it could be a drink or a snack from a selection that the school could offer. And they knew what we'd go through. So we told them to go through their pupil voice first. And then we told them that we'd be showcasing successes. They could bring an example of the book to the meeting that they'd like to showcase. And it was just a really positive experience, so they knew what would happen. And if there's anything they were worried about, they could talk it through with their key adult beforehand in a safe environment and make sure they felt very comfortable. And then we'd also go through that in the meeting, but also ask them in the meeting, would you like to talk about this? Or would you like someone to talk about this on your behalf? So it was very much tailored to the individual child.
We start our planning at the start of the year, so we give parents really long deadlines for things. So they know at the start of the year what month the annual review is going to be held in, so that they can start preparing at that point. Before the annual review, we'll send out the invitations, but we'll also follow those up with a courtesy call to explain what's going to be happening at the annual review. We also at that point send out all the paperwork that they need to complete and give them options for completing that paperwork, because for some of them, that in itself is really, really daunting. So if that's going to be a barrier, we'll say, we'll just give your views at the review. We also give them the option to attend online or in person, or whatever makes them feel the most comfortable. And we find that we get much better take-up when they have those options available. Another thing that we really work towards is making sure that the parents' views are kind of front and center. So before we have the meeting, we get them to invite anyone else that they want to be involved, giving them the opportunity to forward on the invitation, but also give them a chance to air any concerns they might have before the meeting, so that actually when we get to the meeting, we're talking about the child and not anything that's kind of external to them.
It's really hard to choose because I've seen so many positive changes and impact to the child or young person and their family through a person-centered annual review, but both within the culture of the school itself and also within the child and their confidence. I think ultimately it comes down to their autonomy, so their choices over their own decisions, and giving that, even if initially they might not necessarily feel comfortable to expose or say what they're necessarily feeling within the meeting, getting used to the meeting process, being a part of that. It's not happening behind a closed door and they don't know what's happening behind the door. They're a part of it. And actually, if they want to be an astronaut when they grow up, or a pilot or something, we're really making sure we're celebrating what they want to do, their aspirations, and then tailoring it from there. I think one really key example that springs to mind was when I was working in a primary setting, and we brought in person-centered annual reviews, and initially the child, he was in reception, wouldn't come to the door, didn't want to come in, but we had snacks in there, we had Lego, because Mum had to bring siblings as well. So it was very much a celebratory process where siblings could feel relaxed in part of the annual review process. And from that, he was so confident at the next annual review. He came in with his book, he came storming in through the door, and he was so happy. And he showcased what he wanted to work on next. He knew, oh, I want to work on my numbers, I want to work on this. But also we found out he wanted to expand his friendship group. And so it was just looking at the wider picture of the child and the positive impact that had on the playground, because staff were aware of what he wanted to work on. And he was so proud and telling everyone who he was with what happened in the meeting and all the positive successes he'd have over the year. So that was really good. I think, again, as the SENCO and working in the school, you know your child best, and in collaboration with the parent carer, could it be that the child or young person gathers their views at home, they talk about what they'd like to work on next, what they're proud of? Could it be that you do pictures, or I've had cases where the child's gone around with the iPad and taken pictures of what they're proud of and what they enjoy about school? So it could be the teepee in the playground, it could be a piece of work that they're really proud of. We've had that on the interactive whiteboard, so you could do it through a little slideshow. In some cases as well, the child's recorded over the pictures, so they've talked about what they've really enjoyed about the year, but also what they'd like to work on next. Other settings as well, we've drawn pictures, the child's, or you can use Lego or something else, the child's created their ideal school, so what they'd like to have in their school, what they would change, but also maybe talked about through that, through pictures or anything else, about what they might like to change looking forward to the next year. So could that be subjects, could that be positioning in class, could it be how they record their work? And so that's just different ways, and hopefully then reducing any potential anxiety, but also maybe using non-verbal methods of communication, using pictures or widgets, and very much tailoring it to the needs of the child.